Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And once again, a lot has happened over these last 24 hours. Dallas Empire confirming a replacement to FeLo, that being Vivid, joining their team. Will it improve their squad significantly as they look to rebuild their empire? Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, let's dive into this All-Star Weekend bracket for the weekend, of course. Obviously, a lot of big name players in this one, the All-Stars of the season, and well, we'll see them in action sometime later today, I'm pretty sure. Not sure really who the favourite is technically going into this. Cellium and Priestahh, the two finalists from last time, couldn't even make it to play this time around for some reason or other. So yeah, you've got guys like Dashy in here, Simp, aBeZy, I mean Shotzzy of course, Hydra. I think the Hydra could make a bit of a run down here in the lower side, so pretty interesting to see. Also, they're doing some sort of like talent roster where they have like a 4-man all-star team, like almost like an 8 lobby type of thing. Not sure exactly what they're going to do right here, but I'm not really sure also how Nameless managed to draft this team of Hydra, Simp, Huke and Octane. Pretty impressive stuff. Of course, you know, in these type of 8 lobbies, anyone can pretty much win when you've got pros with so much talent on the line. But I thought this squad that Nameless managed to put together was pretty impressive regardless. Also thought this was kind of funny, given we're going to be talking about roster changes in a couple of seconds. Paraslegion say, join us in wishing Nikki, that being classic, a happy birthday, hashtag on guard. And RT says in reply, happy birthday, Paris Classic, you are a beast. Because of course, well, everyone knows pretty much at this point the Classic is going to be joining the Seattle Surge. He's been scrimming with them the last couple of days, and Paris have now got Zaptius in place of Classic, but you know, they're still tweeting out happy birthday to a player that is technically still assigned to them, but Arcitys is like, you know, why exactly are you doing this? So of course, look, we've had teams make changes so far, well, really the last few days. Accuracy, of course, benched for MajorManiak not too long ago, and then, well, there are lineman player cards look something like this. We saw yesterday that, well, the flank was talking about, they were talking about on the flank, the fact that, yeah, lineman player cards actually have some significant implication of how these teams actually make their roster changes. But I imagine the coaching staff is keeping their eyes on statistical underperformances like this from Accuracy in the Search and Destroy, especially at 0.65, and thinking, alright, let's say we bring in, you know, bring in MajorManiak, great in Search and Destroy, that should step up our game to some degree. But other teams, of course, have been making changes as well. Los Angeles Guerrillas quite a while ago now made the move to put Vivid to the bench. That was a very surprising one at the time. I'm pretty sure everyone was like, okay, what exactly are you doing here? And I thought really if they wanted to keep Vivid on their bench, it was kind of like they were thinking about maybe bringing him back at some point or another, because their current team, I can't really see them making too much of a run for the rest of the season. Vivid, I think, maybe did play slightly too quick for the rest of their squad, and they wanted to switch things up in that sense, which is certainly fair enough. But, you know, at the same time, it felt like he was probably the most shining star of that team, and definitely put up a lot of great slaying performances, and, well, not just in terms of slaying, but also in terms of engagements, putting pressure on the map, something that Vivid is clearly very good at. And yesterday, they do confirm we've mutually agreed to transfer Vivid to another team. We thank him for climbing the ladder with us these past 2 seasons. Certainly do wish him the best. So, Vivid going elsewhere, where could it potentially be? Most squads, it seems like have got a fourth relatively solidified if they are making changes, and therefore it is indeed going to be the Dallas Empire. Also appreciate LAG for sticking with me the last couple of seasons, and here we go. Dallas confirmed, welcome to the Empire, Vivid the Warrior. Very interesting this, I think, from a number of different perspectives. First of all, it's pretty clear. The whole ILLey to the SMG experiment did not work. They brought FeLo in for a time to be, you know, the second AR to Crimsix, and he obviously, well, didn't perform really where they were looking for it, but it was also like their SMG line wasn't particularly doing anything outside of Shotzzy. Therefore, they were like, alright, we need another SMG who not only can put a lot of pressure on the map, but also can take over in the lane when we need. And I do think Vivid was probably one of the best options actually available out here on the market right now on the bench of Los Angeles Guerrillas. Of course, they've got a fair bit of cash coming in for the whole Huke change. Is Vivid Huke? That is, well, a question you can certainly ask. At the end of the day, they're looking at a very similar roster now, but now Huke is no longer on their team and the talent that he can bring to the table. Now, of course, Vivid, I think, as a replacement in theory, is a pretty good one. He seems to understand what it takes to win, seems to want to win, seems to have very much a winning mindset, because we saw that over at Los Angeles Guerrillas, where apparently that was why he was benched for, you know, part of the reason was because he was saying to the team, like, look, I want to win, this team isn't going to win, like, let's actually make some sort of change, even if it has to be me. And then they decided, all right, yeah, we're actually going to bench you out, the teammates. Unlucky. But clearly was pretty eager to actually get on a team that has the potential to win. I think the Vivid on, well, on the Dallas Empire right here can do something pretty special with this team. Of course, you've still got to wonder, right? I mean, the team is pretty much exactly the same formulation as I just said, with ILLey now back on that kind of flex roll second AR. I would imagine that's how they're going to go down than when they had Huke on the team. So still in theory a downgrade given what their roster was a couple of months ago, but I still think this is actually a great move for, well, for the Dallas Empire, all things considered, given the situation they find themselves in at the present time and the tough, well, the roads they have to get out of with it, well, of course, they're trying to rebuild their empire, given it's looked pretty tragic tragic these last couple of months, certainly. The other really interesting point about this, I think, is the Seattle surge, because we saw Seattle try and make a move for Vivid. We saw, well, it was Octane talking about it not too long ago, the fact that, yeah, they were trying to get Vivid onto their team, didn't work out because Seattle and Los Angeles Guerrillas couldn't come to a mutual arrangement. Whereas that says to me that Seattle clearly just didn't want to part with their money, right? Because, I mean, Dallas have come to an arrangement with their Los Angeles Guerrillas. A fair bit of money, I imagine, might have been involved, but clearly it says to me that Seattle didn't want to part with their cash, because they could have got Vivid not too long ago, and now it's the Dallas Empire swooping in and, well, using the cash when it is required to do so. Of course, they had the Huke money back in the mud, but, you know, at the same time, if you're Seattle, you gotta think that maybe, you know, an organization like that could have forked out the cash to get Vivid when they have the opportunity to do so, and now, of course, he goes to the World Championship roster. Now, of course, the big question is, will it actually improve this team significantly? These were the statistics from last stage. We talked about the fact that Parasite and some other players were like, look, I think Dallas needs a two-person change. Is keeping ILLey in the team actually going to be the solution for this squad? Because, I mean, but, you know, look at these statistics, right? Shotzzy has been playing great, given they've been getting absolutely bodied. FeLo honestly did solid, all things considered, and it was ILLey and Crimsix statistically with really poor stages for them. So, okay, of course, I mean, ILLey was on this difficult role on the SMG. Maybe he'll be better suited on the flex. Crimsix especially has been underperforming this last stage. Can he step that up again? And I think Vivid can put a lot of pressure on the map. Is the team, I mean, Crimsix is a pretty fast AR, so I think all things considered, it does make sense. I think this is probably a step in the right direction for this team, but at the same time, there's a lot of very good teams right now. Is a one-person change? If, I mean, really the entire season, ILLey hasn't been putting up great numbers. Crim, I think, was pretty damn good for the first couple of stages. If you can get back to that form, this team can get back up there again. If ILLey can start putting up numbers, they can get back there again. And of course, they've got the talent to do so, but it just hasn't been looking good these last several months for them. And with all the other teams improving, I'm just not sure I can really see a world where this one-man change for Vivid coming in for FeLo actually make this team once again, you know, maybe a championship contender even, or at least making grand finals and mixing it up to win with the best teams in the game. I'm not necessarily sure that does happen. And this is probably the team I would imagine they're going to be sticking with for the rest of the season. So intrigued to hear your perspective down in the comment section below. Do you think this is a significant step in the right direction for the Dallas Empire? And how exactly will they fare in the groups that were announced yesterday for Stage 4? So here we go. Let's run through them there, because a lot to say here. And it's kind of interesting in a way, because I feel like when we've had the group stage, outcomes for the last couple of stages, we've seen these groups look incredibly stacked. This time, I feel like, a lot of these teams are very much relatively clear-cut in terms of where they sit in terms of power rankings. Now, that's not necessarily the case in the middle of the pack, especially with some of these roster changes, but the big dogs, of course, do head up their groups in their own fashion. So here we go. It's Group A, as you can see right here. So Atlanta FaZe, OpTic, Los Angeles Thieves, Minnesota Rokkr, Paris Legion, and Seattle Surge. The only really surprise to me here, I mean, I'm pretty sure that even though the Dallas Empire have been looking pretty woeful, still getting picked as like the 6th team makes a degree of sense here, all things considered. I mean, I'm not really sure who else you put above them right now, unfortunately. But the real surprise to me is Paris Legion. I mean, it's not really a massive surprise. They're down here at the 5th pick, but Florida Mutineers decided to put them over in Group A, because the Mutineers seem to have a tough time with Paris Legion for whatever reason. And even though I would say that Paris and Seattle right now are clearly the worst two teams in the league, they find themselves both in the same group here over at Group A. And on the other side of things, you've got Los Angeles Guerrillas and London, both teams that can be very competitive and take squads to Game 5. So I actually think Group B is more interesting probably than Group A, even though there is the discussion in A, certainly. I mean, Seattle are making a change, Paris are making a change, Minnesota Rokkr are making a change, and then the top 3 in FaZe versus OpTic, the rematch there is going to be very exciting to see indeed. We really hope to get that at the major. Unfortunately, we didn't get the opportunity to see that because OpTic lost in that Game 5 round 11 to Toronto Ultra in crazy fashion, of course. Los Angeles Thieves need to bounce back pretty significantly, and now Minnesota Rokkr have made a roster change here with MajorManiak coming into the team from Accuracy, as we did discuss. And I mean, of course, they want to get to top 3 in this group as well. So getting top 3 in either of these groups is pretty tough, especially Group A. I mean, FaZe and OpTic should be relatively locked up, you'd imagine, if they play like they did at the major. And then you've got, okay, between Thieves and Minnesota Rokkr for the 3rd spot. But then, of course, you never really know what Seattle or Paris are going to do with some significant roster changes they have been making. On the Group B side, okay, New York and Ultra, just phenomenal scenes. This is going to be finally a matchup we see. I'm really looking forward to that one. Dallas Empire as well are in this group. They could improve with Vivid, as we just talked about. And, they're obviously looking to get top 3 in this group and get back to their winning ways that they had towards the start of the season, or at least winning some series and potentially getting to some grand finals. And then you've got Mutineers, still questions what they will do exactly. Los Angeles Guerrillas not exactly looking phenomenal. I think, the top 3 should be relatively clear-cut right here. Good opportunity, I suppose, for London. And really all of these squads, there's so much, that matters really between these 3 teams for who gets to the World Championship, that all those matches are going to be very important, certainly, in the long run. But I think this London change, if they do bring an Afro and look relatively good, I think they could be, honestly, a bit of a dark horse for this group. But every group has its dark horses forces right now. It's not easy at all when it's single round robin stuff like this. And also, of course, these are the schedules for the matches. So I thought I'd present them on screen for you guys real quick, just if you guys aren't aware. And well, here we go. So this is starting on the May the 27th, that being technically the OpTic Chicago home series. You guys know how it is at this point. They certainly do like to rinse the matches as much as they can. So here we go on the Sunday. You've got Atlanta FaZe versus OpTic Chicago. That is the rematch on May the 30th. They play the Rokkr as well, a match that's not been so easy for OpTic so far this season. Empire are back in action on Friday, May the 28th. FaZe, of course, right here, and of course some other new teams we need to be keeping our eyes on as well. Very much looking forward to, well, a number of these matches honestly are really good. On Sunday has another banger. Ultra versus Empire is going to be really interesting also. So yeah, we'll have to see how that one goes. Then the next week is the Florida Mutineers home series. Some good ones here, especially on the Sunday. New York versus Dallas, FaZe versus Thieves. And it'd be nice to see Dallas to actually be competitive again, because lately, when they play the top teams, it seems like somewhat of a foregone conclusion. At least if Dallas Empire can actually improve somewhat with this change, then we could be seeing them in a good spot. Will they ever be as good as they were with Huke on the team? That is another question entirely. But clearly, Huke and Crimsix had their differences that for whatever reason they couldn't settle. The team couldn't settle. Maybe it was Huke and the rest of the team that had their differences. Who really knows at this point? Vivid, I don't think is going to be a go with that attitude. I think he's going to relish the opportunity to play with some of these champions that he's teaming alongside right here. So, I mean, obviously a great opportunity for him. Great to see him off the bench, a player that's actually managed to escape from the bench, which is pretty rare to see so far. And if he can improve their team somewhat significantly, then, well, they could be a threat for the rest of the season. Let's never count Dallas Empire out. Of course, they are the reigning world champions. They want to do a similar thing in just a couple of months' time. And this then the final home series of the 3-week schedule for Stage 4, that being the Los Angeles Thieves home series, finishes off with none other than Los Angeles Thieves versus OpTic Chicago on the final day of the Sunday. You know how it goes. And hopefully these matches will have significant implications for the seeding for the groups. Then, oh well, we certainly have some great storylines to keep our eyes on to the very death. But do take your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube because I know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well. And I'm growing the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.
He's going to get taken down in the back by Cam. He almost takes him down, but that's a good hold out of the red squad. Blue squad, they're looking to rotate to this next street hill. You have number 4. That's going to be Shotzzy. Let's go on board with him as he's going to be holding this buzz, trying to hold the rotation. He's going to pick up 1. Can he stay alive? He's ringing around the rosy. Absolutely smokes Methods and takes him down to get the sponsor his team. He lines him up, and Shotzzy is absolutely pacing. Ladies and gentlemen, what did we just watch? Shotzzy on the form of his life, and he's still going. Currently on a 6 streak, currently at 13-6. He cannot be stopped, guys. Shotzzy's gonna come back towards gold. He's gonna try and continue this streak. Let's see if he can keep it going. You got the red team gonna be pushing him. It's gonna be Zinni. He's gonna take him down, but Attach coming in with a big trade to finally take down the red hot Shotzzy as he's able to pick up an artillery barrage. Good plays coming out of him. The blue team looking to shut down this series 3-0. Zinni, what the